We're back, and we're excited to be joined by this week's Beast of the Week, Iliza Shlesinger. Iliza is a comedian, she's a writer, she's an actress, she's known for her razor-sharp wit, high-energy startup. She first broke out as the winner of Last Comic Standing and has since become a powerhouse in comedy with multiple hit Netflix specials, and now she's bringing her unfiltered humour to A Different Animal, her brand new special on Amazon Prime. From tackling relationships to gender dynamics, Iliza never holds back. Iliza, welcome to the show.
I love being your Beast of the Week.
You are our Beast of the Week.
Are.
And I have one question for you, which is what the hell are you wearing in your Different Animal? Because it's like Sam said, it was half pantyhose, half chaps.
Like a pantyhose
That's right.
with like long, tall boots.
They
I'm
are
obsessed.
Okay, good.
And I think you should make a line of them. Your equivalent of Meghan Markle's jams. You're going to be wearing
I'll just make
slightly
3.
dominatrix leather.
No one
leather
can buy
things.
them.
Yeah.
I found those pants, as one does, late night scrolling on a Spanish rave wear website.
Stop it
Interesting.
right now.
Because I'm always like, oh, what's like a fun thing? I saw them and I was just like, and I hadn't had my son yet, and I was like, it's those pants. And in my mind, and still to this day, I was like, these are just cool. Like, I didn't do it to shock anyone. I was just like, I could wear that.
Right.
And so I had my son, and all women should feel that way, like, I can wear that.
Yeah.
And after I had him, I was working out, and the goal was to look good in the pants. And my trainer, I would like lift my leg, she'd be like, and one, pants. Like, she would always just say, pants, like, keep them in mind. And I thought they were just cool, and I didn't realize how divisive they would be and how angry people would be that I wore them.
Wait, people are angry about they're
pants
angry
are
about everything.
fantastic.
They are fantastic.
They're fantastic.
It's a bit of theater.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And it was fun. And it's like a rock star thing to do.
But also, huge congrats on the abs. I mean, what the hell? How do you get those abs 8 months after you have a baby? And now I understand it because you're trying to get in the chat pants.
I just got the chat pants. I'm going to give you the answer that the internet doesn't want to hear.
Okay.
And the answer is I worked really hard.
Okay.
Yeah. How,
no, I
like
don't
2
wanna hear
hours
that.
a day?
No, just I do Pilates. I would do it 1 hour a day, maybe 4 times a week.
Right.
Like with a trainer, and I didn't really drink much, which was the other thing no one wants to hear.
Right.
But I really worked at it with the focus of getting back in shape. And I know we're not supposed to, as women, say that. We're supposed to just embrace it. But the standard for myself is I want to feel good and I want to look good, and that's the way I want to look. And I wanted to wear those pants, so I did.
Goal pants, rock star
I mean,
pants.
but also it's so your physicality is so part of the show. You can't not look at you when you're up there. So the work is incredible.
Yeah,
the work was worth it.
Literally
thank you.
proud of the stage. I actually loved your special so much.
Thank you so much, Samantha
I
B.
loved it.
A very high praise.
I've been a huge fan for a long
It's
time.
not
and I
high
feel
praise. She
like-
says this all the time
No,
to
I
people. She's
don't.
like, I'm a big fan.
I listened to. I actually watched your special last night in the kitchen, and I was so glad that because I have you have 2 kids.
I have 2,
You have
yeah.
2 kids. I have 3. One, and they're all kind of teenagers now. So my 14-year-old was there, and she was listening to the special too. And I was like, your voice is so true and so clear, and I was really happy that she was. Because you talk so much about body image, and I actually think you talk about it in such a healthy, like totally well-rounded way.
Thank you.
I was like, fuck yes, I'm glad.
Yeah.
My
Well,
goodness, you're.
And there's a moment where, by the way, did you see what she did then? Like, you've got 2 children. I've got 3. I've got 3.
I've
So
got
she's
3.
got one
It is
more.
it's
so
a competition.
competition.
Yeah, it's a competition.
Who breastfed best?
No,
Not me.
But there's a bit in the show where you have a very funny joke, which I don't want to spoil for people if they haven't
Spoil
seen
it. Tease them.
But, well, it involves you doing squats across the stage.
I
and
did
I was
make that choice.
I was
Yeah.
breathless. A, the joke is so funny.
Yes.
And B, the physicality of it is incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I do think as a performer, because at the end of the day, we are artists and we are performers, and I believe in putting on a performance. This is not a choice that I make. This is like a physical manifestation of the dialogue in my head, and so it comes out. I work out, but I'm not an athlete. I didn't go to school and play sports at a high level. I mean, I play sports growing up, but I'm a very physical comedian.
Right.
Not pratfalls, but just in terms of and I think anybody who's like a theater actor would get this, just embodying like it. And that's why I'm always like hunched over. Like I so badly want the audience to get what I'm getting, to see what's in my head. And so those squats, just sometimes you need to illustrate it with your body.
Well, it was so well done.
So
So well done.
organically comes out of your body. I like remember in theater school that I had a movement teacher who was like, make sure you feel your back. Like, and it was, I never ever forgot that. It was like, I feel you very three-dimensionally in this space. Like,
You're also over 30. You're like, I'm always feeling my back.
I feel my back,
My back
like,
right
I feel
now.
it. But like, and you can see yourself really feeling up. What is your process? Like, how do you actually work an hour? Like, what does that look like in your life?
So obviously every comic is different.
Yeah.
I write my own material in that it is all mine and I create it, but I don't write it. Like I don't write it down.
Okay.
So it's all mental. I might write down a word or two to jog my memory.
Yeah.
But I get up a lot.
You
and
do.
we were talking off
What do you
camera.
mean you get up a
Sorry,
lot?
I go on, I do sets.
Yeah.
I run sets, like locally. So I live in LA. So multiple nights a week for multiple shows a night, you will find me at the Comedy Store or the
Right.
Improv or some alt venues, which I love an alt venue. Love a curveball of an audience. And I just run these ideas and I run chunks. You do 15, 20 minutes at a time. If I want to run the hour, I can. So you're constantly rehearsing it, but with the intention of finding nuances, cracks, what works, what doesn't, tags, adding on, and it's constantly morphing. And then I string those together, and that becomes the hour. So the old hour starts to fall away, and I start putting in new pieces as I tour. So by the end of the tour, you have this brand new hour that then you run over and over and over toward the end of the tour, and then you tape it.
Right.
And so
Right. So
that's how I
so
work.
when you tape the Amazon Prime special, none of that's written down. You just get up there and you remember it all because you've just honed and
Correct.
honed and honed it.
That is
Wow.
not written down.
Wow.
Like the jokes are not written out in full anywhere. There
Right.
might be like a set list that just says like, you know, the millennial, Gen Z, thigh meat, paper, like just words
Right.
that just
Shower sex.
that look
Shower
like a
sex.
cryptic serial killer list, but it's just that set list and the order, and I see the order in my head. And I do it, but it's not written down anywhere, which is so I write a lot of jokes, but I also forget a lot of jokes. Like we have this one.
As you get older, you will forget more.
I'm feeling it, and I believe you. But it's difficult because you try to record yourself, but like I have this one joke that other people on my team, they're always like, "Remember the Las Vegas joke? We loved it." And I'm like, I don't, like I can't. It was so good,
Right.
and I did it for like 6 months, and now I can't. I'm like asking my husband, I'm like, "What did I say about like?" I would like look to him as my vault,
Right.
Because it's gone.
Right.
I should write it down.
I love also the way that you're constantly reaching out to the audience and making them feel so involved. It's so interesting, and also it's not very common to see that. I think you see it more with male comedians than with female, maybe. But I just love that dialogue you have going with them because it feels so spontaneous and like you're highly intelligently in the moment, and it's just exhilarating.
This is the interview I've been waiting for. Like this is all I want is to sit with like two women who are smarter than me.
Well, I
have
don't
that
think I'm
commentary.
smarter than
Yeah,
you,
I
though.
don't think-
I am. I just want to. We've made
we
a
did.
welcome,
A little-
a welcome.
This looks like a
plate for
puzzle.
you.
It is kind of a puzzle because we were so inspired by, I can't even remember. I will never remember the name of the Meghan Markle show on Netflix.
Oh, it's not called. Oh, the brand is called As Ever. It's a lot of just 2-word.
I'm working on my own brand because actually that is honey that comes from, because I do have a beehive that is.
That's
but I
your
was
honey?
like, yeah, it is. Isn't
She
that
has 8 acres she ploughed with clover.
a little bit
Start your
of a
own
nerd.
brand.
I have a little bit. Well, you
Start
know,
your
you-
Instagram.
you
Bees,
kind of have
bees,
to-
come on.
Samantha's bees.
It has to be bees. She's the
bees,
marketing
bees.
genius. Yes.
I was wondering what is the most bland name I could have for my business.
Bees,
I was like,
bees.
bees,
Sam's
bees.
honey.
Was once something like that.
Was
It's
once.
go to-
What even is that?
I
Was
don't know.
once?
It doesn't mean anything. It's just 2 words together that mean nothing.
Oh my God. I love was once.
It makes
Oh,
no
you mean
sense.
Not
as
now.
ever was once?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
This
Now
was
I
as ever was once.
Okay, took me a bit of time to
ever,
get there.
ever once. Anyways.
Never
Anyway,
again.
the point
Never
is,
again. Please
we
never
didn't
again.
That's a bad
we
one.
didn't want you to be snack free,
Yeah.
so we have some edible flowers for you.
Because we're all eating flowers now. Okay,
I
wait.
love an edible flower.
Tell me, what is your Joanna Cole story? You have a
It's
secret.
basically, so I met you because you had the bold type,
Yep.
which you produced, but it was based on your life in publishing. And I met you when I was at Freeform because I had, for 6 episodes, my own late night show on Freeform.
And Carrie Burke introduced us.
Yes. And look, Carrie Burke. Love Carrie Burke. And I remember meeting you, and I was so interested in the way you comported yourself because you have this posh British accent, right? This RP accent, and you're so successful, and you worked in publishing for Hearst, and you just seem so powerful to me. And so we ended up pitching a show that didn't go anywhere, but we had to deal with Happy Madison, and we pitched this as a TV show. And it was about a woman. This was years ago, before anyone else did it, about who ran a wellness brand. So it wasn't based on you, like Joanna Cole, like with me knowing nothing about you, but I was like, I want to play a woman who like skis and Lech and goes to Davos, but like secretly like eats garbage, but like has a health food brand. It has like a wellness brand.
Well, yeah, I do eat garbage.
I wanted it to look like, I'm sorry, so it was her, but it was her boss. Her boss was the one who would always like put her in a place, and the boss was just like, just strong, and just would be like, you're not invited. Like, just kind of like, we're having a meeting behind closed doors about you. Goodbye. And like, just like the woman you want to be, impenetrable, austere, strong, educated, impeccably tailored suits. This is having met you twice. I was like, I'm going to design a whole show around what I think she is.
Oh, did you hear that? Did you? I just want that running on my Instagram at all times. Well,
Short
it's
hair,
very exciting.
$400 haircut at minimum, just expensive.
Minimum.
That's so funny because I do feel like
I think I've gone all red now. I feel like I've gone red because I'm like blushing.
In our last episode, I called Joanna a street rat because I also feel like a street rat. Like, I feel like there's the undercurrent of this conversation is how hard we all work. We work so hard.
That's the first time I sat down.
And nobody sees it because they see they think, oh, she just gets up there and talks for an hour, and I bet I could do that. I'm sure so many people watch that and think I could do that.
Yeah, you make it look effortless.
Well, we watch gymnastics. I'm like, I could do that.
I can do that.
I can. That's part of the art of it.
Yeah.
For whatever you do, singing, like when you watch like Celine Dion, that's a random reference, like, or Whitney Houston, I always think of like the music just falls out of her mouth. And so you're like, I could sing that. It is about making it look, when you see models walk, you're like, oh, what's the art to it?
Yeah.
But to do it well, there is an art to it. And especially stand-up, which is largely consumed in the dark with a 2-drink minimum. Mm-hmm. It's not graceful to a less discerning eye, but there really is like a metaphysical, almost mathematical art to inflection and intonation and the way that you're speaking and to whom you're speaking, like knowing your audience and when to make certain jokes and to ride the energy waves.
Right, ride the energy waves.
And comics that have done it a while get that, and it took me a long time to get that because for the first 10 years, you're just hitting them and hoping that this next joke works.
Right.
And it takes a lifetime to like master that.
When do you think that you like stood in your true voice? Do you remember like when you were like, oh wait, I think this feels right. What I'm talking about feels so right now.
I think it's more the response that I got versus me being like, and what I'm saying now is important.
Right.
Because, I mean, that's not your voice.
Right.
It was more, I had my thoughts, and I never thought that I thought they were funny, but I didn't think anything that I was saying about women and the way we should feel and standing up for women, I didn't think what I was saying was new information. Mm-hmm. So I always think if I'm thinking it, other women must be feeling this, because there's no way I'm so special that like these thoughts, like I'm the only one to think about being an individual or being a feminist or wanting safety for women or whatever it is. And then it started to become, I was just being honest up there because I was raised to speak your mind and no one had ever told me to sit down. Right. And so then the feedback started to become this very feminist message, and then I kind of just leaned into it. And I had never used the word feminist growing up. It just wasn't a part of a conversation with my peers, whatever. But we were feminists in that we were educated, going for our goals, not lowering our hand in class. Just, it wasn't a conversation because we're
just living it.
You're just living it.
Yeah.
And you had bad experiences with boys, whatever, but it never occurred to me that a boy should get something that I wasn't getting, because I didn't see myself as boys versus girls. Like, we were all striving for things. And I wish that for all women, but so the feedback started to become that I was saying these things. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, well, here's more of it.
Right.
And so in this special, I think especially having had these 2 kids, I'm just like, now you can't tell me nothing. And I am going to say it. And now I'm older, so I can definitely say it. In a way that when you're younger, you're like positing these messages, but it's like, okay, well, you're still like a young girl. And even though I'm 42 and I could be older, I feel like I get I get a lot more than I did in the last special. Like I just get certain truths and I feel them in a certain way that I didn't before.
Did you sense, because I did sense this when I had kids, that your time is worth more to you and you kind of work more efficiently? Do you feel that at all? Like you...
Yeah, especially because your kids are little.
They're
Yeah.
little.
I think I struggle. Like I always want to give people the time of day. And so I get a lot of emails from, and this is like local shows, like people that want you on their show. You know, a lot of like, hey, I'm running the show. Can you do this? Can you do this?
Okay.
I never want anybody to feel bad for having reached out, because I know how it feels when you reach out to a celebrity or someone wanting just a little bit of sunshine and they just don't. So that consumes a lot of my time.
Okay.
It's not about being liked. It's about really just, I do always have the bandwidth to like be nice, write back. But in terms of...
That's impressive. You're going to,
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be hard to do that after this Amazon Prime special.
I mean,
you're going to be inundated with people, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's only so many shows, and the truth is, if you manage it, you do have the time, but I think a version of what you're asking is I try to avoid things that I think will be painful. Like if I don't want to, like if that meeting sounds awful and it's just a hand job of a meeting, like I just, you know what, I don't need this and I'm not going to. Just really trying to avoid certain gigs, certain things. If the city is not a great gig, like I don't need to, we don't need to route it with Buffalo. Like we don't have to go to some weird hot spring and do a theater of 1,500. I try to remember how miserable I've been when I've pushed myself to do things that I didn't want to do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
I still feel like that now, that every now and then I think to myself, you know what, I actually don't have to do this.
I actually don't have to do that.
Right, because there's a period in your life where you're saying yes to absolutely everything because you know it's all cumulative.
And I do feel like I'm still in that in a way, because you do kind of have to take chances and take those meetings and do that.
Right.
But to get to that place, that Joanna Coles, I wrote a character about place. I want to get to that place.
This is so exciting for me. This
I
is
know.
so
I'll
exciting.
get you
glowing.
the
Just beside
pilot.
myself, I'm going to just put it
This is you
everywhere.
beside yourself?
Yes, this is very exciting.
Just to get to that place where you're like, not only do I not have to, but I don't feel, I'm not going to have any anxiety about having missed out.
Right.
Because I know it's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah. So there's a bit, my favorite bit in the show is where you run into this fantastic looking guy from Kansas and you do his wife who's coming in and you go into this kind of animal. Yes, you're slightly doing it now. It was so, I've just never seen anything like it.
Thank
I
you.
was like, this is so good. And yet when I saw it, it felt very familiar to me, like
Yes.
because I understood exactly what you were trying
You
to
know what I'm talking
articulate.
about.
Yeah, exactly. It was so good and
Thank you.
and refreshing and new.
Thank
and
you.
just new.
I love ugliness, and I never get to talk about it.
Right.
And as a woman, if you're an attractive woman, making yourself ugly is not something that we do often. And you think of, like, I think of like Kristen Wiig, and she plays that character Judith, who's got like the giant forehead and the little,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that. Ugliness, ugly characters, I've always gravitated toward them. I always wanted to be a creature, an old witch lady. I love embodying these because there's such humor from that, and it's so freeing because you're not worried about
Right.
being
Am I attractive?
attractive.
Yeah.
And a lot of my stand-up is ugliness. It's the ugly side of women, the ugly side of men, ugly characters, a woman with a hump, just really getting into that because you can't offend anyone because no one really looks like that. And so we all get to, even someone who is ugly, we all get to laugh at this made-up character. And I love embodying that because there's just such a freedom that we as women don't get to experience.
Right.
Even when you're scrubby and you're in your sweatpants, like you still maybe put the bun up and want to look kind of nice. So we're always having to answer to that, to being, I hate this, like fuckable, to look, you know, are you attracting someone? Are they judging you? But when you're ugly, when you get to be these ugly characters, like all I want to do is play a monster in a movie.
Right.
All I want to do is hunch over and be hideous because there's such freedom in it.
There's total freedom in it. And you know what's interesting is like you're too young for this, but when you start to enter like perimenopause and stuff, it is a different stage of life where you kind of grapple with invisibility on a really tactile level, and it'll be I wait the like dozens of comedy specials that you're going to do.
Yeah,
when
that you
like,
are going to do.
You're not the first
backstage
woman to say that.
because-
Like, I can't wait till you go through menopause so you can write about it.
Yeah, I think that because your voice is so clear, because you talk about, like, one of my favorite parts is a kind of a long discussion about like our own beauty standards for ourselves.
Right.
And who the fuck are we really trying to impress when men just like generally don't care if you are wearing, like, they're not really looking at the heels on your shoes. They really don't care. They really just want to have sex with you.
Yeah.
And you can pretty much look any old way and they will still want to have sex with you. So what are we actually, why are we actually why are we torturing ourselves?
I mean, because when I was younger, I would always hear women who were older, and as I get older, I'm like, you really do need to listen to your elders. Like, as I'm stepping into these roles, I'm like, when you're younger, you're like, I got it. Like, I don't need to hear about your kids, like your older experiences, because when you're younger, you know everything. But I would always hear women say, women dress for other women. But when you're 26, it's like, no, you're not.
Right.
You're dressing to attract men. If you're straight, right? That's what you're dressing for. And so, you know, you've got your boobs out and like you're doing that. And then as I got older, I was like, actually quite recently, I was like, oh, yeah, I want to look nice with those ladies because we judge. Not even in a bad way, but it just tells me stuff about you.
Right.
And your priorities.
Right.
And I'm a pretty, like, I'm doing a press tour now, so like I put on these nails, but I'm a very casual, the way you see me on stage is the way I am kind of person. And what I've really noticed is it is about your priorities, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to look immaculate when you go somewhere. But it's about where you place your value. And because I get so much from being funny and stand-up, I am fine to go to the grocery store.
Right.
I guess I don't go to the grocery store. My husband goes. But I'm fine to go somewhere with no makeup because this precedent, I'm like, I'm not a model. I'm not trying to convince you that I am. And so if you see that I have sunspots, I guess you're going to have to get over it. Like, I just...
Brooke Shields, she literally writes about
well.
it in her last book, which is like...
Well,
people,
you did a very good interview with her on Choice Words.
People want to meet the Brooke Shields from Blue Lagoon, and then she shows up and she's like a real three-dimensional person. She's a real human being. And she talks about how sometimes she walks into a room and people are literally crestfallen because she just looks like... she's just like a normal, very beautiful woman who is incredibly famous.
But smart, super smart, Brooke Shields.
Not from a movie.
But not from a movie.
But I think that also has to do with, because there's a difference between like civilian experience versus celebrity experience.
Yes,
right. And even though I'm not famous, I would put myself in the category of someone in the public eye. And the expectation that you are imprinted, and especially for someone who's had a career as long as Brooke Shields, like you're imprinted in their minds as that child, that character, that actor. People are endlessly disappointed that I'm not taller.
I thought that when you came in, I was like, God.
Because
I
on
really
your screen,
thought she
I'm
was
the
hoping,
biggest thing there.
Right.
But I'm like, nope, just a very average height person. Perhaps I give off like a tall energy. But then I like feel bad. I'm like, I'm sorry. Is there anything?
I know you're already disappointing.
Yeah.
And
usually they don't see, it's usually my voice that comes and then the recognition. Because I usually just travel with no makeup and a baseball hat, and they hear it or they recognize my dog. And then my face comes last.
Right.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
People always think I'm going to be mean to them. And then they're like, oh, you were normal.
But you're not.
Yeah, like
Well,
I'm
you're quite
normal.
mean.
But
You're
you're
quite
not
mean
mean
to
to
I
people.
know.
That's because you're smart. And you dare to try.
They're just daring to
I get
try.
that too.
Daring
and
to
it's
try,
hurtful.
daring
It's
to
hurtful,
try,
right?
Daring to try, daring to get out of bed,
Yeah.
to do a job, to do
Yeah.
it well, and to do it on your own terms.
Yeah.
You're deemed all of these things. I mean, someone once called me difficult, and I was like, because I asked you to pronounce my last name correctly.
Right.
And there is a set of standards, and people talk about this, but for women, there is an anger at women who dare to try anything, whether it is wearing those pants, having children, not having children. Anyone who deviates from an expectation, you're vilified for it.
Can you think of an
Yeah, it's
example? I
interesting.
can think of a really direct example of someone who I think, like I watched a studio rehearsal of Pink once. She came to the Daily Show and I worked there, and she was so direct with everybody. She was so direct with the sound people, like in a way that I actually think that I had never seen a woman be before.
Give us an example. What do
She
you mean?
wasn't at
Like-
all. She wasn't at all mean. She was just direct in the way that a male rock star would be. She was like, "I can't hear myself. I need the sound turned up. No, that's not it. I need it. I need this. I need this. I need this." And it was like, actually, totally professional. It was but it was so instructive to me. I was like, she can get what she wants from people. She's direct. She's not trying to people please here because she knows what she needs in order to do the best performance for everybody. So it's a service to herself and everybody.
Yeah. It's efficient.
It's efficient, and it was perfectly polished and professional. And it was incredibly instructive about how you can be a civil person and get what you need and what you want.
So you're labeling it as civil because you're also a host. So you have also done those sound checks. You've had to come to the center stage and you've had to do a similar version.
Yes.
And so as a strong, intelligent woman who is not a bitch, you just want to get it done.
You want to get it done.
And so you look at that and you're like, absolutely. But a regular person might look at that and be like, well, she wasn't smiling.
100%.
I
She didn't say
vibrate with that.
please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she didn't say please. And like, that also could be her team, but she also does that sound check. Probably doesn't do her own, but still hundreds and hundreds. So she knows.
She knows.
I feel that way if for some, like obviously I have a tour manager who does it, but if I come there, I'm like, here's what I need in the wedges, here's what I need it bumped down to.
Yeah.
And it's just me waiting for that. And you don't have to be mean about it, but there is something, and even as women sometimes, and I love that you felt that about her, I always have to check myself when I reflexively don't like a woman, because I have to be like, is it because you're jealous? Is it because she did the thing you wanted to do? Like,
Interesting.
did she really do anything wrong?
That's so interesting. Can you think of an example? Like, I mean, I point to that example. It happened so long ago,
I
but
have an
it
example
helped
like
me.
that, 'cause
I
It
love
helped
Pink.
so much.
Oh, she's fantastic.
She's
I love Pink
incredible,
too.
and like
Yeah.
that was so helpful just to see that. Did you see that out around you, and that helped you to stand in what you need better, or did you just have to learn that over time?
You have to learn it over time. I had to learn it over time, and you also learn by mistake. You know,
Right.
you learn. Sometimes you do have to plaster it on and make sure to thank every single person.
Yes,
Right.
with that smile. Yeah.
Because there will be someone who's like, well, she had an attitude. Just because you advocated for yourself,
Right.
you can't have a bad day. And there is a civil way to go about it. But I think if you're lucky to have a long career, and you only get a long career by doing the work and actually having a voice, and we talked about this,
Yeah.
to surround yourself with people who get you,
Right.
so that you can be more efficient. If you're doing a talk show or something, you don't have the time to handhold. And also, it's a great lesson as a younger girl to like grow a thick skin.
Right.
It is not personal. It rarely is personal.
Yep.
And I always have to relearn that lesson, because I always think like I've hurt like someone's mad at me, and it's like, no, they're off their meds. Like, it's not you. And so it's hard because you want to be liked.
Well, and also I think you want to get better, and you don't. I think women take failure more personally, or take criticism more personally. But I'm sure there are lots of young women who look at you and think, I want to do that. I could do that. So your message to them is to say you just have to keep doing it every day. Every day, just be out there doing it.
You have to do the work.
You have to do the work.
I did a documentary. It's on Amazon. It was from a while ago. It's called Over and Over, and it is about the hours that go into you do it over and over. You do it when you're sick. You do it when you're heartbroken.
Right.
Good day, bad day.
Right.
Because you have to love the work. If you are not in love with the art that you're doing or the work that you're doing, you won't go far. And so I do think we see a lot of that, where someone did something, it hit on social media, and now they're just like, I guess I'm the person that puts the ham on the bread now. And you're just like this robot. So you have to not be able to function without it.
Right.
Like when the pandemic hit and I couldn't do stand-up, it was like weird, because that was the one consistent thing in my life for so long. But I'll get up at a bar, I'll get up in an arena, I'll
Right.
get up at a jazz club. Like, it doesn't matter, because I always have
you
to
love it.
I remind myself how much I love the work.
Yeah.
I love that. Actually, that's the most. I feel like a career and a life and an art form that is totally portable. Like, you've made this portable business that wherever you go, that business goes, and you can do that anywhere. And you
Just need a
always,
microphone.
yeah, you just need a microphone.
Sometimes you don't even get one.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and also what's nice is at your stage too, at this stage, A, you've got tons of runway left, but B, you're being really appreciated and feted for it, which is also nice, and given the platform,
Thank
right?
you.
Because there are a lot of people who probably feel like they would like the platform you have, and I'm not saying you, in any way you don't deserve it, but what's great is you've finally got the platform, so now you can sort of think about what you're going to do next.
I appreciate that, because I feel like I don't. So
You
I'll
have
take
a
that.
huge Amazon Primetime special, which when I go on Amazon Prime is the first thing that comes
Good,
up.
because I was wondering about that algorithm, and I was wondering if it hit for everyone.
It definitely comes
But,
up.
you know, I think as artists too, we're always striving at like, well, why can't I have this other thing that seems so easy for other people? Why can't I fill this tour, this arena, this thing like quicker? And you see people just skyrocketing past you, and I see people who have been doing it less, and they are at places now that I worked my whole career to get to. And so
Right.
it's not an anger, but it is just abject, constant disappointment.
Right.
And so that also fuels this constant drive.
Right, constant drive. The drive is so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, the drive. Yes.
I mean,
It doesn't go away.
like
Unfortunately.
a prey drive, like a beast,
Like a
beast of
beast.
the week.
Like a weak
of the
beast.
week. Yeah.
A weak beast. The beast of the week.
Beast of
Not
the
a
week.
weak
You are
beast.
beast of the week.
I want to call
There've
the
only
special
been
beast of the week.
22 of
Oh
them.
my God, your next special should be just called Beast of the
Beast.
Week.
It could be, yeah, totally
Love that
different
word.
animal.
Oh, it's
Beast. You're a beast.
I fucking should have
so
called it that.
good.
I'm really regretting it now.
No, that's the next one. We're
Oh, it's the
logging
next one. It's
Don't
the next
take it.
one.
Don't take
Don't
it.
take
you
our
gotta
idea.
you gotta get the Instagram handle right now. Just
Yeah,
go
you do.
grab it.
At
I,
beast.
I really need some honey, actually.
Oh, great. Well, you can drink that
I'm,
whole jar.
I'm
gonna be dry
struggling there.
bread.
I can't sort of reach it.
No, it's too. You're trapped. You're trapped.
I'm
behind
trapped.
your
I'm trapped
microphone.
behind
It never
microphone.
comes out in the right amount you want. It always over drips and then it's sticky.
Yeah,
100%.
why haven't you bought one of those wooden things with
I
like...
don't. I am not that organized. I am not that
You
organized.
actually are quite organised. You say you're not
pretty
organised, but
organised.
you
Where
are
is the
organised. You've got
farm?
flowers.
Is
I
this
don't have
upstate New
I
York?
don't have my honey dripper. I don't have.
Honey dripper, that's
Is
what
it
it's
in
called,
Hudson?
honey
Is that where
dripper.
you can't give your address? But is this like an upstate? Is this a Vermont
I'm going to give you
farm?
a dry.
Yes.
She lives at.
I
no,
have
I'm
like
not
a
gonna
little.
do
We have
that.
a house. We bought a house 1 hour outside of the city. We because we. I mean, Joanna does not want me to continuously bring this up, but we did grow up in Canada, so we always when we moved to New York, we were like
51st state?
Yeah, with 51st state.
51st
We were
state,
always like,
yeah.
we need a place that
I think
has
you
trees.
should run for governor of Canada. You'd be a good governor.
Governor of
Is that a thing?
Governor of Canada. You'd be great as governor of Canada.
Yeah, I think the Canadians will really warm to that idea.
She's like,
think
as a
it's-
British person, I don't pay attention to our colonies.
We don't know what our colonies are up for. Yeah, we
Maybe
don't
run
know.
for something more local, perhaps not in Canada.
I love the work that I do. I find
Yeah.
it very satisfying. I love to talk about menopause and
Yeah,
do
you'd be
podcasts.
governor of
It's very-
menopause.
Oh, that would be good. I think it's very. I actually want to go back to something you were talking about because, like, I have that too. It's actually very challenging to like look around and see the spectrum of people who are working
Yeah.
and where they are in that, and how do you settle that in your own self? Like, what is helpful to you as an exercise?
I'm not good at it.
Okay.
So I'm not going to sit here and pretend. I'm not going to give you these aphorisms like, you just have to love yourself. Like,
Yeah.
that's a lie.
Yeah.
I always return to the work.
Yeah.
Always having a project that you're hopeful for.
Right.
Always having a role that I can envision myself in. Writing. I wrote a movie. I wrote Good on Paper that's on Netflix. And that movie was special to me, not just because I lived it and it was a crazy story, but because every time I didn't get the role,
Okay.
every time I didn't get the thing that they promised in the meeting, every time I didn't get a second season of a show that I poured my heart into,
Yeah.
I would return to that document and I would fantasize and I would write and I could have all the control I wanted
Yeah.
in that document and on stage. Stand-up is a meritocracy. I don't need an executive to greenlight it. I can just do
Right.
it and the
Right.
audience dictates. And like our special launched yesterday and I was having a really hard day. It was just not going mentally the way that I had hoped. And it was supposed to be this very special day, like a Christmas morning thing. And it just, for some reason this time around, I just felt very bad. And I dropped in at the cellar and I just got to do 15 minutes. And it was like this reminder of like, that's what you do.
Right.
But this
That's
is,
why you feel better.
This is also very helpful because it's those moments which are built up in culture and you think, oh, this is going to be, as you say, a Christmas morning. My specials dropped on Amazon. It never feels like
No.
what you think it's
Oh,
going to
good.
feel
It's not
like.
just
Right?
me.
No,
Okay.
it's absolutely.
Good.
I feel like whenever one has moments like that are supposed to be iconic moments, it never ends up feeling like that.
And I really appreciate that you said that it wasn't a great day. I mean, I wanted
I know.
it
I
to
wish
have
that
been
you
a
had
great
come
day.
out. I wish we could have done this yesterday so we could have cheered you up.
Actually,
No, it was so bad.
I actually love talking about when things are hard and when things are disappointing. It's very difficult, actually, because often the public only wants to talk about like the celebrate. They're like, you must be you must be you must feel amazing right now. And often
Yeah.
those moments that everybody is projecting onto are actually like kind of dark, and
They don't see how it's made.
They don't see like like how the sausage was made.
They don't. There's also, and I don't know, having had your own show, if you carry this with you or how many times before you had that, I know you were a correspondent, you tried to get your own show, but I'm very good at compiling a list of reasons why I've been wronged. And a list of reasons all the times before were bad.
Right.
So a list of reasons of how I already know this will be awful, so why don't you guys know that already?
Interesting.
And I really do my best to like not
Yeah.
share that. But so if one thing didn't go well, I mean, the interviews were all great. The press was great, but just feeling so bad. And I was just like, that's right. This isn't going to work because the last time they said that they would do this for you and they didn't. And I'm not going to do it again. And you're stupid to think that they will. And just, it starts to spiral.
The loop.
And you make up a story.
Loop of doom.
And because if you're an intelligent woman, because you always have to be ahead of the curve, you start to think, well, like, you have to be ahead of this. So you know, it's not a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I'm like, I need to call it out that this isn't going to work and this isn't going to be successful because last time it wasn't. So I'm just letting everyone know that I called it, and it's like, but that's not what's happening. But your story is so important to you because if you're not right about your story, then you're not intuitive and you're not smart. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. And I think that going back to creation, like going back to the creation, going back to the creativity is like very instructive because that's the nut. That's the whole thing. Like the whole thing is creating something. So all of that, it's not that it goes away, but if you can go back to the pure art form,
yes,
that's the best part. And then you can kind of, it helps release.
It's the best part.
It's the best part.
Like the day felt so, I also was like, I want this special to be as special as I can't control it. I can't control who watches it or if anyone's going to care or write about it. And we did everything. And I think in a weird way, I wanted it to drop at midnight. And by 6 a.m. when I opened my phone, I wanted it to be like, it's the biggest special in the world. Everyone watched it before work.
Right.
I just had put so much pressure on it.
Okay.
Because I wanted it to, and it still can be. I mean, this is the second day, do so well. And so I just created this weird, like, personal hell all day. But it wasn't until I got on stage and did that 15 minutes that I was like, okay, that's who you are.
It's such a helpful thing to hear other people go through this.
Okay, it's so fucking helpful. I think it's the most helpful thing. Like, it is not helpful for me to hear that everybody's like perfect. I don't like it. I love hearing about it helps me feel normal to hear about difficulty.
Well, I thought it was perfect.
Yes.
I thought it was perfect.
Thank
I
you.
loved doing it. I'm so
Really?
grateful you came in to talk to us.
so grateful.
You're welcome back anytime.
You guys are awesome. This is like having a real interview with real intelligent. Like this just feels so good. So thank you.
Good. Well, I wish we'd had it yesterday so we could have cheered you up.
But you know what? It's really goddamn great. It's really it's like a gem.
We
It's
need
like a
to get
real
those
gem.
pants. We need to get those pants. I want to have them made and I want to wear them.
Goal
You
pants.
could. You got long legs. You
can
definitely
do
could.
it.
Well,
I think of you as a long person.
I wouldn't be able to thank you. I wouldn't be able to button them up, but I might be able to.
You lace
If
it
all
up.
it takes is 4 hours of Pilates a week, I could do that.
I don't think that's all it takes.
No, I don't think that's all it
I think
takes
there's
either.
more to it.
In my
there's more
pilot,
to
you
it.
love Pilates and working out. You have a private trainer.
Oh my God, please send me
gotta
your
get that to you.
pilot. Okay,
I
you
will
do.
get you the document.
You have to get that to
Yeah.
me. All right, we have to wrap up.
Yes.
We're not
thank
gonna
you.
finish
Because you've
this?
got hundreds more interviews to do.
But not as good as this.
No,
No,
not as good as
of course
this,
not.
actually. It won't be as much fun. Sorry, but it won't. But
I'm
I
sorry
do
to tell you.
please, can you put some honey and a flower
I can't reach it. I'm trapped.
I know,
My
we're all
arms
trapped.
aren't long enough.
This is Pilates. It's a perfect show. I think it's perfect. If you have been, thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, definitely comment, and I will try and respond. And Eliza might respond too. And share it with everybody you know and you don't know. As we've said before, strangers on the subway.
Keep sending those emails to beastpod@thedailybeast.com. Joanna's reading all of them.
I am reading
Drop
all
us a
of them.
comment on YouTube. Joanna's literally reading them, and she'll get
I'm
back to
engaging.
you.
I'm engaging.
It's crazy.
I know she thinks I'm mad, but I am engaging. And Eliza engages, so that's
Beast
good.
of the week.
Yep.
Beast of the Week. If you're not a subscriber to The Daily Beast, why not? It's easy to sign up. Just go to thedailybeast.com.
As my muse is once again saying, everybody get out there and be best.
Be beast.
I'm sorry.
Be beast.
Screw it up every time.
Oh.
Perfect ending.
great.
Perfect ending. The Daily Beast.
Thank you so
Let
much.
me do one more line. One more
There we
line.
go for me.
So excited.
The Daily
It's a
Beast
really big
podcast.
deal.
Oh my God. The Daily Beast podcast is produced by Sarah Demokoff, Svea Baron-Reinstein, Jesse Cannon, and Seamus Calder, edited by Deanna Chapman, and engineered by Johnny Simon.